Immediately, I gotta say it, fuck Dobby. I hate everything about this freak. His clothes, his voice, his disgusting face, absolutely hideous. No redeeming qualities from a design standpoint or a character standpoint. From the moment the movie begins, he's a constant annoyance and like an absolute nightmare of a presence that you would never want to ever encounter in real life. And by the end of the movie, they actually have the audacity to make him like a sympathetic character. Like they actually try and make you sort of root for Dobby, which is just disgusting. I mean, this is a freak and not a good one. This freak is supposed to be lovable and you can, you know, see some sort of affection for it. I don't know how they thought that was ever gonna work. He just looks disgusting. His nose, his ears, everything just is unpleasant. His little rag that he's wearing, that's just it's just gross. It's just really gross. And you know he's got an attitude as well. Like look at him with his arms folded and just being all know-it-all, and oh my god, you would just hate to know him. They did everything in their power to make an annoying little freak. And they just don't commit to making him hateable. They really try and say like, no, this is a good guy. Like this is someone who's like a friend of the main characters, and you know is like sweet and charming. Absolutely insulting. He's going right at the bottom. There is no negotiating about this. Dobby does not have any say in this. Absolute dead bottom of the tier list. Now, on the contrary, not only is this a technical marvel, but it adapts the character that appears for so much of the story that if he doesn't look right, the people are definitely gonna notice. Gollum, he is a perfect example of a freak. He is just a weird, disgusting creature, but he is actually, you know, he's likable, he's entertaining, very watchable. You know, he's in so much of Two Towers and so much of Return of the King. He really has to be, you know, something that you want to see. Like, you know, it can't be like that Dobby creature. He's thin, he's bony, he moves like a bug, he's got like no teeth, little strings of hair. My friends, this is what a true freak looks like. From a quality standpoint, he still looks really great. Like, he's definitely, some shots don't quite look as good as others, but I will say in like Return of the King and especially the Hobbit movie that he's in, this little freak looks amazing. You know, it feels like you could actually reach out and stroke him. He starts to look a little bit too cute sometimes. It actually makes me feel a bit wrong, but when he needs to, he can look terrifying and is also just generally disgusting. And this was such an achievement, and he was like such a pop culture icon of that time. In my opinion, they couldn't have done it better. You know, Gollum, I'm saying that's an A-grade freak. He is going right towards the top. Now, you may be asking, like, what's the criteria here? Like, how are we actually ranking these? And that is a great question. Now, the Lord of the Rings troll, I'm a bit less favorable on. Like, I don't necessarily love him. Bless him, he's not in most of the movie, so you can see why they wouldn't put, like, too much effort into making him really polished, especially, like, compared to Gollum or something. But I don't know, this is probably the scene that has aged the worst from that first movie. It's definitely fun, but like sometimes I can't stop looking at the troll and just how weird he looks. He is disgusting though, and definitely looks like some sort of hellish abomination. Like he is really, you know, fit for purpose. I don't know, there's just something about it that doesn't look quite right. He is just, you know, he's just a big oafish troll. He's not quite freaky enough, that's what I will say. You know, he definitely looks freakish, but he's not a freak. Definitely not Dobby levels of bad, but, you know, he's gonna be much lower on the list, I think. I think he can sit comfortably in the C tier right now. Okay, full disclosure, I don't actually know what this movie is. I don't know what this creature is, but I saw this DVD cover once, like in a shop or something. I haven't stopped thinking about it years after the fact. Look at this thing. Awful. Awful. Absolutely terrible. Like, what? Like, I don't care to educate myself in the matters of Five Children and It, the movie. But I really just would like to have some sort of context. Like, what is this thing? Is he like a little sea creature? Is he a little goblin creature? Is he like from an alternate reality or some sort of other dimension? Or is he of this world? Because I need to know. I guess it's based on a book. Like, that's what it seems to be. I don't want anything to do with it. He's definitely got some sort of attitude. He's thinks he's smarter than all of us. God, he looks disgusting, and he's got those big antennas. And like hair, oh, he looks, and I hate to admit it, he looks wise beyond his years. That's the worst part. He really is gross. Is this what it is? Because like, I feel like that's appropriate, because I wouldn't give this thing a name. I wouldn't give it the dignity of having a name. This thing is disgusting. I can't stop looking at it. My eyes are like fixated on it. God, it's gross. I think that kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is in this movie. You know, he had a rough break when it came to CGI creatures. Remember that one movie? The Spider Chronicles or whatever? I really don't like this freak. I would not want to encounter it in real life. I mean, because like, I think the troll is really good at being a disgusting troll that would kill you. The 5 children in it creature's definitely going to go below it, that's for sure. Eragon. Did anyone ever see this movie, Eragon? Does anyone know what it's about? Because I didn't, you know. But I remember seeing trailers for it all the time and thinking, what the hell is this movie about? I don't know. Is it like, I think it's based on a book. So it's adapting this thing onto the big screen. I'll be honest, I don't like it. You know, I'm not a fan at all. He looks drunk. He looks inebriated. Like, imagine if you had a dragon, like an actual real life dragon, and he was your companion, and this is the one you got. Like, you didn't get a cool one. You got this this jaded looking freak. He looks unfinished, you know, but like, I'm not saying the CGI looks unfinished. I mean, his design looks like undercooked. Like he looks like he's missing something. Like, they meant to add a bit more stuff, but they didn't have the time. It doesn't inspire the same sort of anger that the 5 children in it creature does, and it's actually, you know, quality wise, it is better than the troll. I'm gonna put it below the troll. I don't think you know, he just looks really boring. Like, he's got no character. Like, you know, if you got a dragon of that nature, you want him to be exciting, or at least like very intimidating. This guy wouldn't intimidate anybody. Okay, like, over the course of cinema history, you know, from the dawning of what's that one movie with the moon? You know the one. Come on. We've seen a lot of Hulks, but I'm only specifically talking about one Hulk iteration from the golden era of CGI Freaks. This one looks like he's made out of Play-Doh. Like, he looks so artificial and fake. You know, he's big and chunky, and I gotta be honest, he does look really, like, yummy. Like, did no one else sort of think that he looked really edible? Is that just me? This movie I actually do like, partly because I watched it a lot as a kid, and the concept of the Hulk just as like a character. I'm not really too big into superheroes, but I do like the Hulk, and just how he works. Also because the movie is insane. Like, he's leaping around, throwing tanks and shit. Like, what I will say about it, as much as I sort of like it, he doesn't blend in too well to the scenery. You know, he sticks out like a sore thumb. He's got like a weird face. You know, is it just me, or do I want to kiss it? Anyone? Let's cut to the chase. It's not freaky enough. With the Hulk, I'm definitely, you know, I'm gonna put him above the troll. I'm gonna put him above the troll because I don't know. There's something about the greenness of him. He is so luminous that it's just like you can't help but stare at him. So before I did this, I was thinking, who could go on the list and who could I analyze as part of this little freak show? And I was thinking, oh, the Men in Black little spindly alien creatures, you know, the ones that like drink coffee or whatever. But I was like, what are they called? Like, do they have a name in universe? So I had to go onto the Men in Black wiki, and I found that they are just called worms. Like, they are just known as worms. No special alien name. They're just called worms or worm guys. There's notable individuals: Nebel, Geeble, Sleeble, and Mannix. So if you did want to refer to them by name, that's their individual titles. Let's go on the page for Nebel. Nebel is a male worm and one of the 4 main worms in the Men in Black series. Like the other worms, he is addicted to coffee and cigarettes. He is pretty dope. And these guys are freaks. Like, they look really disgusting. You wouldn't want these guys crawling around your house. anytime soon. You know, I like these guys. I'm gonna put them above the Hulk. I'm gonna put them in B. They are some good freaks, I will say. You know, in my mind's eye, if I'm thinking like, what is a freak? That's probably what's gonna pop into my head. It's the Chipmunks, pioneers of the human character meets otherworldly CGI freak genre that is somehow still going on strong today. I personally do not like them. You know, always causing mischief. They seem like a real headache to be around. You know, I like how they've got their own little personalities. Alvin's the cocky leader. There's Theodore, the fat shit. And then there's Simon, he's the nerd. But even with those distinct identities, when the time comes to be annoying, they are all on the same page. And I really cannot agree with that. Definitely look a lot freakier at the start of the movie when they're like fully naked. Giving them clothes sort of turns them into like mascots. They don't quite look feral enough. Just a really bothersome presence in anyone's life, I'm sure. When I watched the movie, so I would have been like 7 or something. I watched the movie and I didn't really know that they were like supposed to be singers. I didn't realize that was their whole gimmick. So I thought it was just going to be a movie about these chipmunks causing havoc. But then they started singing and I was like, huh? I thought it was a real weird creative decision for the movie. But that's their whole shtick. I don't enjoy their presence at all. And I would want them out of my house immediately if this ever happened to me. They are freaks, but they are not welcome freaks. They are going to go. You know, I can't, it's getting difficult now, because there's quite a few. I mean, I really don't like them. I used to listen to, like, chipmunk remixes of Flowrider songs on YouTube, though, and I really did like them. Shit, man. I really debated not including this, since it is technically not, like, you know, like a creature, like a separate sort of entity, but I really do not care. This is hideous. Back in the day, studios had like some real balls. Like, they were brave, you know, releasing this to cinemas to hundreds of thousands of people and expecting them to just not like acknowledge it or not take issue with it. You know, that is meant to be The Rock. That is actually meant to be him. This was a perfect era, in my opinion. You know, things like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars had set the precedent that, hey, CGI is the way forward. You know, blockbuster movies are not complete without some computer-generated effects and characters. Probably gave a lot of people too much confidence. This is funny, because it's so easily avoided. Just make a costume. Make a fake claw. Anything that means you don't have to completely restructure his whole like body and face, you know, with limited ability and budget. It's like the climax of the movie too, so it's like the end of the story and you're supposed to be fully invested, but this distraction just shows up and you can't stop thinking about it. This isn't a freak, this is an abomination. It makes me uncomfortable. Is he the first one that I'm gonna like really put toe to toe with Dobby? Cause he definitely is that bad. Like, I don't know. Yeah, no, he definitely deserves that place. You know, what I can say about the 5 children in it creature, you know, as much as I wouldn't want to be around it, you know, I could deal with that. I could make amends, probably like, you know, strike up some sort of relationship with it maybe, if we were like trapped on an island together. Me and the Scorpion King, we got nothing in common. We have a terrible time. I think the Detective Pikachu movie was a really humbling experience for a lot of people. You know, for anyone who has ever wished that their favorite Pokemon could exist in the real world, this was a wake-up call. It doesn't matter which Pokemon is on screen, it probably looks horrifying. Like, and honestly, I respect the fuck out of that decision, because they actually look like they're in the world for the most part. Like, they don't look like, you know, if they were too clean and less freaky, I honestly think the movie would suffer a bit. They just wouldn't quite feel like they're there. But I think because they look a bit disgusting, they actually, you know, that you can believe that they are there a bit more. It's a fun movie. Like, you know, Mewtwo has like teeth. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't explain that. And I will say, for the main attraction, for the character you're going to see the most, Detective Pikachu, they actually nailed it. Unlike a lot of the monsters in the movie, Pikachu actually looks kind of sweet, and I actually wouldn't scream in horror if I was to see it walking down the road. Definitely a really good effort. As I say, he's not a true freak. I think, like, you know, he doesn't have the qualities that really make like a Gollum, you know, stick out. But he's definitely good. I mean, for now, I'm gonna put him at the I'm gonna put him at the top of B, because you know, I love those guys from Men in Black. But you know, the effects do look really good on him. You know, he quality wise, he is very good. You know, he's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. I'm gonna bump him down. Hop was one of the first movies I saw where, even though I was a kid, I was coming out of it thinking, oh, that actually wasn't enjoyable. Like that was actually a waste of my time. This thing is so unlikable, annoying as fuck. I don't want to talk about him, personally. Definitely low ranking on the list. Just everything about him sucks. Yeah, see, now it gets tricky. Now it does get a bit tricky. Yeah, he can go above the Scorpion King. I have no love for this creature. Just fucking stupid. Okay, so here's the thing with Sonic, and I'm gonna be as rational as I can. I know the whole gimmick was that, obviously, like, you know, the movie trailer came out, Sonic looked terrible, the fan reaction was bad, so they changed Sonic and they delayed the whole movie, and then it came out a lot later, but Sonic looked good, and they had made the design a bit more game accurate. The movie was saved. I'm still of the opinion that this was all a big work, and this was meant to happen. You know, they intentionally did the bad design, and then the fan reaction drove up way more interest in the movie than there may have been initially. I know it's Sonic, so it's a big IP anyway, but maybe they didn't have confidence that it would be that big, or maybe they just wanted to, you know, they wanted to sell, they wanted to, you know, maybe they just wanted to, you know, because, like, you see just how much interest this, the bad Sonic really drove in the movie. Like, so many people were talking about it. He was on, like, Fallon and shit. He was... Like, everyone was talking about this. If it had just dropped with the Sonic that we know now...
What the fuck are you talking about? You sound like a crazy person. I'm sorry, everybody. I really do apologize for this. Let's be real. Sonic... Like, it probably did happen that way, you know. They probably were going to use that design. It's really scary. And I can't imagine anyone not doing this as a joke. That's all. That's all I'm saying here. Who would agree to this? I don't know.
Fuck the movie. Who really knows? Either way, I don't really care. Sonic in this movie looks really good. And he is actually, like, more of a freak than some of the other guys on this. Because, I mean, he just, like... Sonic does not look like a hedgehog. He is something else entirely. He's definitely a bit annoying. You know, that's the whole point of Sonic, is like he's got an attitude. And they definitely do play that up in the movie. But he's like, I don't know, he's just like, there's something about him. You wouldn't want to spend too much time with this guy. He's like that friend who's like, you know, you do enjoy his company. But you really wouldn't want to spend more than like a couple of hours with them. Might get a bit tiring. The main character of the Sonic movie has him like living in his house or something. So, you know, that's terrible. But yeah, Sonic, he looks good. He looks pretty good. So I'm gonna put him just below Pikachu. Cause yeah, even if Pikachu is voiced by Ryan Reynolds, I think maybe I'd probably prefer his company than Sonic's. I don't know. Okay, so we all know George Lucas. He's a risk taker. You know, he makes some bold decisions, but none were as big as putting the #1 freak at the center of the grand comeback movies for Star Wars. Like, this is the freakiest character they could have ever put in the movie, and he is front and center. The Star Wars prequel movies, these were the first new Star Wars movies after Return of the Jedi. So much build up, so much anticipation, and he like unabashedly promoted the movie with this disgusting freak at the helm. So much merchandise for this like rotten design. It's crazy. It is. How the fuck did this get greenlit? Like, who was manufacturing this? But hey, if I'm gonna praise Gollum, I gotta respect Jar Jar on a technical front. This was insane for 1999. Like, he was a fully CGI character that was pretty seamlessly interacting with the human cast. Like, it's not lost on me how impressive this was. Even now, when watching the Phantom Menace, I don't think like, oh, that's a CGI model being animated to look like it's speaking to Liam Neeson. I think, holy shit, Liam Neeson is talking to a freak. And in his defense, he is so fitting for this universe. The lifeblood of Star Wars is ridiculous freak characters running around screaming. I don't know why anyone has so much of a problem with him. He is totally a Star Wars character. Like, he completely fits the brand. You know, Jar Jar, he's annoying, but that's a good freak. I'm saying it. He's gonna go. Do I put him above the... Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna put him above the Men in Black worms, because he's just like a technical marvel. And in universe, I mean, if you saw that thing, you would scream. He is disgusting. He's a freak. And on the subject, Boss Nass looks amazing. Okay, the CGI is fantastic. You know, he's not in too much of the movie, so you don't get sick of him. Looks disgusting, but you sort of want to eat him too. Is that just me? Now, Yoda may be controversial. We all know that originally the guy was a puppet. I'm not talking about that though. I'm specifically discussing CGI Yoda, not anything to do with the puppet, even though I do love him. CGI Yoda is another really impressive one, and especially for the time. Despite being a little creature, he commands your attention and gets unbelievable respect from everyone in the movie. And they had a lot of balls for making him fight the way he does during the flips and stuff. It's funny at first, but to be honest, if he did this to me, I'd be terrified. But they don't just make him a badass, they actually give you some great freaky moments with Yoda in these movies. Remember that one scene where he's like in his little pajamas and he's crawling through a tube? Or like when he gets like a heart attack or something. Genuinely, this was something that would really like amaze me as a kid. Like, it really took me to another world seeing these characters on screen. It definitely wasn't that farting creature from the Phantom Menace. I mean, Yoda, we've got to be honest, he is going just below Gollum. You know, it's really between Gollum and Yoda, which one is like the number one freak. So, you know, and it's really close. Like, it's a really close race between them. But I'm just going to put Yoda below, just because I think Gollum is a lot more impressive in like what they have him do. Because like he has to mimic a lot of like human movements a bit closer, so you know it can be seen as a bit more of a challenge, and it would stick out if he was a lot worse. With Yoda, I mean, he is fully CG. There's no, like... they didn't get, like, a really tiny guy to mocap him. So, I don't know. There's times where it does just feel like they're talking to they're talking to nothing. But, you know, I think even then, he's still really good in those movies. Like I said, he crawls through a little tube in his pajamas. And that's something that we all want to see. The Water Horse. Now, this is a movie that was about a kid finding an egg containing a baby Loch Ness Monster who grows up to become a full-size version of the Loch Ness Monster. I love myths, legends, Bigfoot, fucking aliens, and especially Nessie. I don't love the design. He's got those little ear things. You know, it's a bit strange, but hey, you gotta give him points for making a baby form of the CGI freak. They were ahead of their time in 2008. Judging him, the CGI is alright. Like, the CGI is actually pretty good for, like, I'm pretty sure it was a British production, and generally, they don't have, you know, they don't quite splash out on these kind of effects, but it looks alright. It looks pretty good. You know, I'm gonna put, because he is quite a monster though. I do have to consider, like, he is, you know, he's quite big by the end of it. He actually wouldn't be someone you'd want to get on the wrong side of. You know, I'm going to just be sensible. I'm going to put him below Sonic, because I think, you know, that's a fair position for him to have. Twilight wolves, like the people who turn into wolves, they, like, that's where all the budget went. Like, literally, like, they got the most out of those. The more the movies go on, the more those wolves keep popping up and just start fighting each other. They're like straddling the line between not looking that good and looking decent. Like, they definitely don't look too bad, but I wouldn't say they're blowing you away with their quality. I mean, the thing is, they're just like standard wolves. They're probably a bit bigger than your average wolf you'd find, but there's nothing about them. They're not like freaky. They're inoffensive though, and at the end of the day, they are real people. So they wouldn't be as annoying as some of the fantastical creatures we've got on here. You know, just because they don't annoy me as much as some of the others, I'm gonna actually put them above the Chipmunks. Yeah, I'm gonna put them above the Chipmunks. If anyone's got an issue with that, you can talk to me once we're done. We can sort this out the old-fashioned way. The beavers from the beavers from Narnia. I don't know. I think I just chucked them in last minute because I was like, I gotta make the numbers. They just look annoying. The Smurfs. I would personally be a lot less happy with these things being real than, let's say, the Chipmunks. I could maybe strike a conversation with the Chipmunks. They could sing, you know, possibly be a source of entertainment. These guys, no. They seem to incorporate Smurf into every sentence. And in this movie, they just have like a horrible texture to their skin. Like, you really would not want to touch one of these. They just seem like a constant nuisance from what I can gather, and a bit gross too. I think it's, I feel for Neil Patrick Harris in these movies. If these things followed me home, I'd probably never recover. The Smurfs are going below the Chipmunks for sure. Maybe just above the 5 children in it creature. I mean, I'm not sure about those beavers. Have I made a fatal error with those beavers? Nah, the Smurfs are just... The beavers, at least, they look like they'd welcome you into their home. And probably try and be hospitable, even if they didn't really like you. The Smurfs, I mean, come on. Alright, am I really gonna have to do the whole Kangaroo Jack thing? Am I really gonna explain Kangaroo Jack and what happened with that movie? So Kangaroo Jack is a movie about 2 men who have got deep in with the mafia and have to deliver $50,000 across Australia. And I know what you're thinking, $50,000. Anyway, $50,000 gets stolen by a kangaroo because they're in Australia, so of course it does. Hilarity ensues. Now, the marketing for this movie made it seem like the movie was completely revolving around a big chase with a CGI kangaroo who talks, cracks jokes, and raps. A rapping kangaroo was the centerpiece of all the marketing for this movie. All the posters, trailer, promo material, they all feature this talking, rapping kangaroo. The rapping kangaroo shows up in 1.5 minutes of the total movie in a dream sequence. Aside from that, it is a normal kangaroo who doesn't even show up for that much anyway. The box office plummeted once people found out what the movie was really about. And this is hilarious. I love tricking. But to be honest, a movie that actually does focus on this freak would be fucking terrible. Annoying, obnoxious, Australian, looks terrible, rapping, fucking for being so entertaining. Like, as a concept, he definitely goes to the top of the bottom tier. The CGI isn't like that bad either, but I mean, it definitely doesn't look good. I like, it's I don't know. Okay, this one might get me a lot of heat. Because honestly, I don't think this one gets enough hate. The James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies get a lot of praise for like how well cast they are, and I think that's true. That's totally true. But the main attraction, like the titular character of the movie, undeniably the focus of a lot of it, he is hideous. Like, he is just outrageously ugly. I can't suspend my disbelief enough to say that this thing walking around in the real world would not cause mass hysteria and probably like a civil war or some shit. He is the real monster here. Just really don't like how he looks, and everyone's just okay with it in universe. It's not a quality thing. I think it's aged alright, like from a CGI perspective. Definitely some shots where he looks terrible. But like it's the design itself. I just think Scooby-Doo might be like a character that's too hard to translate into the real world, despite being a dog, which doesn't really make sense. It doesn't. I don't really know how I feel more comfortable with the Loch Ness monster being in the real world, but a dog is like, no, they didn't pull it off. I'm gonna put him in the top of C. That one might raise a few eyebrows. I don't really care. And finally, Scrappy-Doo. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Fuck you. He's great. This is a real freak. While I really hate Scooby-Doo's design, I think it works for Scrappy-Doo. They weren't even trying to make him look like a dog. Scrappy in this movie looks like some sort of alien creature. This is my kind of freak. Damn, I mean, Scrappy is he's gonna end up placing high. Let's just, I'm gonna put him above Boss Nass, and he can go just below the worms. And that's the list complete. That's all I have to say about these CGI freaks. So, what did we learn from this?